Congressman Tom Malinowski of New Jersey is one of the co-sponsors of that bill. He joins me now. Congressman, thanks for coming back on the show. What is it that you and Representatives Susan Wild and Sean Casten are proposing to do? What consequences does your bill want to impose on the Saudis?
Well, specifically, the bill just requires a withdrawal of U.S. troops from Saudi Arabia in 90 days. It is a carbon copy of a bill that Republicans in the U.S. Senate introduced in 2020, when Saudi Arabia was also manipulating the price of oil to hurt the United States, but in the opposite direction. They were trying to drive the price of oil and gas way down to put American drillers out of business. And President Trump was upset about that, as you would imagine. He actually got some of his friends in the Senate to introduce this precise bill, got on the phone with MBS and said, you are going to cut oil production. And within 10 days, the Saudis did exactly that. And so we introduced this bill. I'm trying to give Joe Biden ammunition to take a slightly tougher approach to the Saudis over the coming weeks, and hopefully we'll see results.
So let me just be clear, Congressman. The Saudis murdered Jamal Khashoggi and dismembered his body. They bombed and starved the people of Yemen, and they've been funding extremist groups worldwide for decades. But only when gas prices go up, that's when the United States Congress decides to punish them. That's where the United States government takes the big stand on Saudi Arabia over gas prices, not over human rights or murder.
Well, I would have taken the stand a long time ago, not just over the Khashoggi murder and Yemen, but because I think it's long past time that we started acting like the superpower, not the sucker, in this relationship with Saudi Arabia. I care about human rights. I'm also just offended as an American that we have with Saudi Arabia kind of a diplomatic version of a terrible marriage where one partner abuses the other, and then the abused partner always takes it upon themselves to try to save the relationship from the consequences of the other's misbehavior. I think that's bad for America. And, if it takes this crisis to rebalance the relationship, then count me in. I'm willing to, I'll take it. But I wish we would have done it earlier.
So question for you, Congressman. Is anything actually going to happen? Senior National Security Council communicator John Kirby told reporters that Joe Biden would study the U.S.-Saudi relationship, but he was frustratingly vague when it came to specifics. And I quote, "We're not announcing a formal policy review here with a special team or anything like that," Kirby said. So, Congressman, no one is going to take the lead. No one's been appointed. Is there a measurable metric by which Saudi Arabia is going to be held to account by this administration, by this Congress?
You don't need a special team. You don't need a review. We have a president and national security advisor, a secretary of state, and they've made it very clear that Saudi Arabia should face consequences for this decision. We have leading members of Congress who are telling the administration that we would absolutely support such a step. There's no reason, in my view, why the president can't start taking some actions right now. If that doesn't happen and we don't see movement in the Saudi position, Congress is back after the election, and we will take it upon ourselves to act.
But 6 months from now, a year from now, if you come back on the show, what would you want to point to say, look, we held Saudi Arabia to account?
It's not so much the accountability, but the result. I want to make sure that we have a different balance in this relationship with Saudi Arabia, where we have established that we are a superpower, that they cannot protect themselves without us, and they cannot take us for granted anymore. I want them to play a more responsible role right now in helping us manage global energy markets at a time when Russian oil is off the market, when we're trying to enforce these sanctions against Russia, when we're trying to protect consumers in the United States and Europe. They need to be helping us rather than hurting us in that effort. That's where I want to be in 6 months. That's where I want to be in 1 month.
So Congressman, as you and your colleagues threaten consequences for Saudi Arabia over this gas price decision, the Saudis aren't sitting quietly or standing idly by. I want to play to you a video from a Saudi prince and get your reaction on the other side.
Anybody that challenges the existence of this country and this kingdom, all of us, we are projects of jihad and martyrdom. That's my message to anybody that thinks that he can threaten us.
According to Saudi human rights activist Abdullah Al-Awad, those chilling words came from a Saudi prince, a tribal leader and influential grandson of the founder of Saudi Arabia, named Saud al-Shalan. What is your response to what he had to say? Sounds like a threat.
No, that was a threat. And remember, Saudi Arabia is a sovereign country. They have a right to align themselves with the Russians and do whatever it is that they want to do. But we're also a sovereign country. We don't have any special obligation to have 3,000 troops in Saudi Arabia or to have Patriot missile batteries manned by American personnel shooting down missiles that are fired at Saudi Arabia. That's something we can withdraw. In fact, I know a country that could use some of those Patriot missiles right now, and that is Ukraine. So, look, the Saudis need to make a choice here. And what I want to make sure is the next time they face a decision that involves either helping or hurting the United States, that they are forced to enumerate the good things that we do for them, including the fact that we basically guarantee their security, and that they think twice, rather than counting on us always to make those calculations, counting on us always to protect the relationship from the consequences of what they do. I want it to be a much healthier relationship, actually, and right now, it absolutely is not.
So, Congressman, before I let you go, let's talk midterms. Election day is only 3 weeks away. A new poll from the New York Times has Republicans gaining momentum to take back power in Congress as the economy and especially inflation have surged as dominant concerns. Abortion and immigration are tied at 5%, way behind those top two issues. And according to a GOP official who spoke to Axios, internal Republican body data apparently shows that blue state voters aren't that motivated on the issue of abortion because they, quote, are more confident reproductive rights are secure in states where Republicans are in the minority. Do you feel the abortion issue isn't as big as it was maybe a few weeks ago, even among the voters in New Jersey, a blue state? Do you buy that argument?
No, I don't. And first of all, it's not abortion versus inflation. Both of these issues have been and remain the top issues on the minds of voters in certainly my state, my congressional district. But here's the simple fact. Republicans do not have a plan to fight inflation. They have no idea what they would do. They proposed absolutely nothing, but they do have a very concrete plan to ban abortion. If they get the majority, Kevin McCarthy, their presumptive speaker, has said they will pass a national abortion ban that will override the laws of the state of New Jersey and other states where women's rights are still protected. So they got nothing on the economy, whereas Democrats are actually trying to do something on supply chains, on cost of living, on the cost of health care, the cost of prescription drugs. And at the same time, they do have something in store for us on banning a woman's right to choose throughout the 50 states of this country.
Do you believe Democrats should be talking more about the economy and challenging the Republicans more on the economy in the way that you just said, as Senator Bernie Sanders and others have said in recent days?
Absolutely. Again, it's not one or the other. It is both. Democrats actually have a message and a plan and a record on the economy. The Republicans, I mean, the only thing that I've heard from the House Republican leadership that they might actually do if they take the majority on the economy is to shut down the U.S. government again to force cuts in Social Security and Medicare. That's not what most of my voters concerned about the economy want to see happen. So we should absolutely be playing offense on that.
On that note, we will have to leave it there. Congressman Tom Malinowski, thank you so much for your time.